Welcome back. Today on Real Reviews, we have the Skywave F40 Boom. This is a 5.1.2 channel soundbar. It was sent to us by Ultimea, so a big thanks to them for sending this out. So first off, let's just go ahead and see exactly what we have. If we take a look at the back of the box here, soundbar itself has 5 speakers in it. You have up-firing speakers in the soundbar, so they'll bounce off your ceiling, give you like a 3D effect. Then you also have 2 rear speakers, plus you have your subwoofer that goes on the side for some deep bass and some more effect of having that 3D environment around you. So that is pretty cool. Now let's go ahead and see what we have inside. First off, we have a box of cables. We got our rear speakers. We have a piece of foam. Okay, here's our front soundbar. And then we got our subwoofer. Wow, this is kind of heavy. We have a box of cables. Some nice little rear speakers. I don't know, is that metal? Can't really tell, metal or plastic. They look kind of nice, look kind of cool. You have 2 of those. The other one. And then we have our power adapter for our rear speakers. All right, so we got our power adapter. All right, let's go ahead and open up our subwoofer here. Ooh, look at that. Very nice. It's like a sticker over the Ultimea right here. Peel that off in a moment. This is our actual sound bar. Comes in 2 pieces. That's 1 piece. And there's the other piece. So pretty cool. Has some nice gold trim. Very, very nice. All right, guys, so this is everything that comes in the box. We'll take a look. We'll start over on this side. So we actually have the sound bar, which is what it looks like. Not sure if that's plastic or metal, can't really tell you. You do have to connect it there. Here's the back of it. You can wall mount it somehow. And we have the other side. We have our buttons right here. We have power, source, Bluetooth, volume down, and volume up. And here's our ports on the back. We have our HDMI. This is ARC or eARC. You have to have ARC or eARC support on your TV in order to be able to use the Dolby on this, in order to be able to even connect it to your TV with HDMI. And you also have optical, and you have your USB if you want to plug in a drive and play songs from that. You have your sub out port where we're going to connect the sub, and then you have your DC in port right there to plug in your power, as well as another little mount here. And then we have our subwoofer right here, 6.5-inch subwoofer. Have a nice bass port back here on the side. And then we have our 2 rear channels right here, rear channel speakers. Has a little wall mount, some little button there. That's where we connect it. That's where we plug it in. That's our other RCA cable to be able to plug it in there. Then we have our cable right here for plugging these 2 guys in. We have our power for those 2. Then we have our power adapter right here for the front. Here is an optical cable if you plan on connecting it to your optical outlet on your TV. We have our remote control, which does not come with batteries, by the way, but it does have all of the features on it that you're going to want to use. And this takes 2 AAA batteries, in case you're wondering. You have to provide those. That's what it looks like. Has all the different connections. Has your volume, your play pause button, your bass X, mid-range, treble, all sorts of sounds, different sound effects that you have for movie and voice and music and night, surround, up firing. You got your bass. You have everything on there. Pretty cool remote. You have some wall mounting hardware right here. So you can mount this on the wall. You can also mount these on the wall if you wanted to. And then here's the rest of your hardware. You have a 90-degree HDMI plug right here. And then we have our HDMI cable that comes with it. And finally, this is the speaker setup diagram. So it just shows you have to have the 2 behind your couch, kind of a little bit further away from the sides there, not directly behind you. You want to have them plugged in. You got your sound bar. You have your subwoofer. You have to have stuff plugged in. So it just makes it really easy to know what you got to plug in and how to do it. And then here's your manual that just tells you how to set everything up. It just basically shows you how to put your sound bar together and then how to get it connected. So we're going to go ahead and go through the connection process right now. I chose to start by setting up the rear channels first. They can be wall mounted, placed on a table, or you can pick up some stands like I did. Once you have your speakers situated, you'll just need to get them connected with the provided and color-coded RCA cable. White to white and red to red. Then just plug in your power. As for the front, place your subwoofer, plug in the power adapter, and route your cables. Even though there are 3 ways to connect your soundbar, HDMI ARC, eARC, optical, or Bluetooth, only HDMI eARC will allow you to take advantage of its full potential. However, if you only have ARC like I do, you can still get 5.1.2 in a lossy format where available as Atmos via Dolby Digital Plus. We're going with HDMI ARC, and I've already run the cable out to the front alongside the subwoofer and power cables. Next comes the soundbar, which arrives in 2 parts. So just align the 2 joints and twist to connect. And since we have our 3 cables already laid out, connection is a breeze. HDMI to HDMI, sub to sub, and power to power. And our hardware portion is complete. Now on to the configuration. Be sure to set your soundbar to eARC and your TV's sound output to HDMI. Then turn on CEC in your TV's menu so that your bar will function properly and you will be able to control your soundbar from your TV's remote. If you're using eARC, be sure to enable it in your TV's menu and set the digital output format to auto or pass-through. This will allow the full uncompressed audio signal to go straight to the soundbar. However, ARC is not as straightforward, but still simple enough. For example, YouTube may only support PCM, while if you're using a streaming service like Netflix or digital media via a USB drive, you may have Dolby Digital or Dolby Digital Plus as an option. Atmos via Dolby Digital Plus does support 5.1.2 in a compressed format, so as you play different media, you can check this setting to be sure you get the best experience. Going over the specifications for the Ultimea Skywave F40 boom, the bar has 3 full-range 3.4-inch by 1.5-inch front-facing racetrack drivers and 2 1.75-inch up-firing drivers. The rear surround sounds each have one 2-inch driver, and the subwoofer is 6.5 inches. Wattage comes in at 460 watts, and it supports up to 5.1.2 surround sound. Frequency response is 38 Hz to 18 kHz. For optimal performance, your room should be between 215 to 269 square feet with a flat ceiling between 8 to 10 feet tall. The weight of the complete system comes in at 16.53 pounds, with the dimensions of the bar at 31.49 inches long by 3.54 inches deep and 1.81 inches tall. Dimensions of the surround sound speakers are 2.71 inches wide by 2.71 inches deep and 4.72 inches tall, while the dimensions of the subwoofer is 7.87 inches wide by 9.21 inches deep and 12.4 inches tall. Connections available are USB-A for playing back media and also for firmware updates, Bluetooth 5.4, optical, and HDMI eARC. The app used is the Ultimea app. Features we have are Dolby Atmos, Bass MX, Zapmix, and Surround X. Current price at the time of filming is just $249 US. Taking a look at the Ultimea app, you will notice that there's an immediate version 14 firmware update that pops up and you are unable to use the app without applying the update. When I first received the F40 boom, I did run the update and it caused a loss of much of the bass response from the subwoofer, so I do not recommend upgrading the firmware. If you've already upgraded yours, I talk about this further and offer a solution in my final thoughts, so stay tuned for that. Since you are unable to use the app without updating, I wanted to show you what is in the app in case you skipped the update. So here's the first screen once the system has been updated, and you can see the F40 boom there at the top with a volume slider, power button, source button, and EQ. The source button allows you to switch between the various sources such as HDMI, optical, USB, and Bluetooth, while the power button will turn the system off. Then if we click on EQ, there are 6 preset EQ modes as well as your bass, mid-range, and treble controls, plus sliders for the rear sound as well as the up-firing speakers. Then under that, you have the Zapmix, which is basically a virtual surround sound in case your TV only supports a stereo output signal. You can pause here to read about Zapmix if you like. Since the included remote is extensive, you can accomplish everything we just went over from the remote. However, everything from this point forward does require the app, such as the 10-band custom EQ that you can create and save, as well as a style page that gives you 121 preset EQ matrices. Then, over on the settings page, you can customize the system name, access the user guide, see information about your system like MAC address, serial number, and firmware version. You can also adjust settings like the prompt sound level, auto standby time, as well as the display turn-off time and brightness level. Lastly, you can restore default settings and delete your device from the app. So yes, there are some app settings you may want to use, but for now, they come at the expense of loss of sound quality, especially bass, which to me was not worth the trade-off. Time for the sound test. We're going to be playing 3 clips, which are all Dolby Digital Plus encoded, and comparing them to TV sound. cube is a doorway to the other end of space, right? Doors open from both sides. Yeah, cube is a doorway to the other end of space, right? Doors open from both sides. So for my final thoughts, let me just start by saying the Ultimea Skywave F40 Boom sounds great right out of the box with its original version 7 firmware. And even though there is a version 14 update available through the app, do not apply it because I did and it caused a massive loss of sound quality, especially in the bass area. Fortunately, there is a downgrade available. So if you're having a similar issue and you've already confirmed that you're running version 14 via the app, be sure to reach out to Ultimea and they should be able to provide you with the original version 7 firmware as well as instructions on how to apply it. The build quality is decent and the system looks good in the room. And if your TV only supports stereo sound, you can still use the Zapmix feature to simulate surround. When I first unboxed and set up this system, I really wasn't expecting much, but after watching my first movie in Dolby Digital Plus, I was blown away by the sound this thing puts out. The voices were really clear. I can hear the action coming from all around me, and the bass was enough to rumble the room. And if your TV supports eARC, it's going to sound even better. This is the most fun I've had with a product in a long time, and I've been having a blast watching movies in surround with the family. Everybody really likes this system, and we use it for everything now. So if you enjoy a good movie night, then having a quality surround sound system like this is a must. At its current sale price of just $249, it's a great deal. And even at its normal retail price of $339, I think that it's still worth it since similar surround sound systems tend to go for a bit more. So if you're looking for a great sounding 5.1.2 surround system at a good price, then the Ultimea Skywave F40 Boom may just be the one for you. If you're interested in picking up this unit, I will have a link in the description where you'll be able to get it from. And if you would like to show your support, please be sure to use my links since anything you purchase does generate a small revenue for the channel. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell button so you never miss another video on Real Reviews. See you guys next time.